Hello everyone, and welcome to etellan. I think it's about time for another revamp, don't you agree? To those unfamiliar with the series, I've been going through my accumulating collection of Monster High original design dolls, and have been revamping them in my own style, giving them new faces and hair. So far, we've revamped Frankie, Draculaura, Claudine, and Cleo. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below to see more videos. Like this video if you like it, and comment. I love reading all of your comments. With that all being said, I think it's about time we get into our revamp. And for the doll today, it's ABBEY BombiNABLE, daughter of the Yeti. Abby is such an enchanting character. Just look at that beautiful snowflake tinsel hair. Of course, just like any other revamp, these dolls are all secondhand items that I found through eBay, Gumtree, and other marketplaces. The whole idea is to find very used dolls, so I'm able to revamp them into new collector's pieces. For this revamp, I actually was able to get my hands on two Abby dolls, one a little more worse for wear than the other. This doll's beautiful tinsel hair is all tangled and glued together in this giant mat, and her paint is chipping off just in the same as the other. I think for this revamp, I'm going to have to go with the knotted hair doll. To start, we will need to create a clean base. First, I remove her headband. That's become yellow and dirtied over time. Off camera, along with the clothes, I'll be carefully hand washing them to refresh them and make them nice and white again. For now, however, I'll start by removing the hair. It was so knotted it came off in one clump. To prepare the head for removal, I'll first need to soften the vinyl. I do this by soaking the head in hot water for 30 seconds. Once the vinyl was soft, I can remove the head. This doll came up so well once it was given a good clean. Here I'm using 100% acetone and a cotton swab to clean off all the factory paint. But just look at the difference in colour on the forehead. Over time, the glittery surface of the face has become discoloured, so it's so exciting to see this beautiful original colour come through. At this point, I realised this old doll head had more than just matted hair. As you can see on the forehead and the nape, the vinyl has become discoloured over time. Perhaps from glue leak, I'm not really sure. But then I noticed something a little bit more pressing. A super deep cut in the middle of her nose. This will become super noticeable when doing the face-up, but worse, it could even split more in the future. I guess I'm going to have to do some cosmetic surgery. Grabbing my Zap super glue, I'm going to glue the inside of the cut together. Unfortunately, I ended up not being in frame for this, but I opened the cut up, and with a dab of glue on a pin, I just worked the glue into the crevice. Then press it shut until it dries. Once it was dry, I'm going to get a very fine sandpaper, and will be sanding away any glue that's leaked out of the cut, as well as getting a clean, smooth surface to work on. As you can see here, it's still a little bit too visible. To create a new surface for the nose, on top of the scar, I'm going to be using some Milliput. This is a 2-part epoxy mixture. With some water and a silicone moulding tool, I'm going to work the mixture over the nose tip to make sure that the surface is really smooth. Once that was dry, I mixed up a custom colour paint, which matched the skin colour, and we'll be doing some concealing work over the white milliput. Once the paint was dry, I gave it a spray of Mr. Super Clear Matte Varnish. I know that seems like a lot of steps to clean a tiny little cut, but I think that taking the time to make sure that you have a really good base to work with is always so important, and is one of the most important parts of creating something, really. Abbey has been one of the most requested characters of this revamp series. I've never had the opportunity to successfully repaint an Abbey doll before, so it's so fun to have that opportunity. But who is Abbey? Just like the other characters of the series, she's the daughter of a famous monster, in her case, the Yeti. The Yeti as a monster is honestly just so fascinating. Before starting this revamp, I honestly had a very surface level understanding of what it was. The Yeti as a monster is honestly just so fascinating when you think about it. The Yeti of Nepal and Tibet mirror legends of such creatures throughout almost every culture. In ancient Greece, the historian Herodotus described such creatures, living amongst headless men with faces for chests, found in the wests of Libya. Within North America, First Nations described a creature in the forest, large, hairy, and to be avoided at all costs. Even in Australia, Aboriginal oral history tells of a creature called the Yowie. I first heard about it when I moved here to Australia, and honestly, it absolutely scared the heck out of me. Even when researching this video, I lay in bed at night listening to Aaron Mankey's podcast Lore, episode 170, Into the Wild. I'm an adult, and yet this episode still made me hide a little bit under the covers. But back to Abbey. Abbey is an exchange student transferring from the Himalayas. Something so striking about her character design is the beautiful contrast between the blues and pinks within her clothes, makeup, and skin, which look fantastic against the white hair and fluffy outfit. Something that I found the most challenging of this creation was definitely caused by the most random of things. It's been raining constantly, but during summer it's so humid. The humidity in the air just won't let my varnish grasp onto any pigments. I wanted to go for a very icy and fantastically shimmery look, but it just wasn't working with this weather. I ended up having to scrap all of my pastels, and actually end up using some eyeshadow pigments and resin shimmer powders. As my pastels just weren't working, I was super limited with my colours. Nonetheless, choosing a plum-like pink and a purple from the Sailor Moon Colourpop palette and various resin shimmers, colours were finally grasping onto the face. I've come to find that the pink and purple really bring the skin to life. It reminds me so much of when it's cold and blood rushes to your cheeks and nose to keep your face warm. One of the main characteristics of Abby's character is her teeth. From her bottom jaw, she has 2 sharp teeth that sit outside of her mouth when her face is relaxed. I was quite stumped on how on earth I was going to make this look realistic, and not just 2 white lines painted onto her lips. To start, I went in with a white watercolour pencil to sketch out the design. Later, I'm going to be going in with white and grey acrylic paint to emphasise the teeth more. I wanted to give her a subtle mouth-open design, basing it off the actress Amy Lou Wood, who has such a sweet face. I ended up actually going back and making the teeth more pronounced. I preferred the look of naturally visible top teeth like Amy Lou Wood. While I know that it's not exactly something that people would normally see on a doll, but I really thought it was a beautiful characteristic. Abby already has visible teeth, so why not just lean into that design? One of the last things that I like to do on a doll's face is add lashes. While doing the face up and hair, I thought the white wispy lashes looked good, but I was wrong. I don't like them, and it just seemed way too busy on the face. I didn't end up showing how I did it because I'm going to be removing them anyway. I feel as if this was a continuous theme whenever I was doing this doll. I was just constantly changing it all the time. The old indecisive workflow. Before adding the final coat of Mr. Super Clear and moving onto the hair, I'm going to add a load of resin micro glitter to the face. Once that's all done, I'll give the face a coat of varnish again, and we can move onto the hair. So originally for this revamp series, I had tasked myself with using supplies that I had on hand, as I was in lockdown and I wasn't able to refurbish my supplies. Well, I was super lucky to be able to go out shopping recently, and got some new supplies. I never thought I would ever be so excited to buy yarn. As well as the pinks and purples, I also got some blue yarn. This yarn, however, is a little bit of a dud when it comes to creating yarn hair. This yarn is far too tightly wound. I get asked a lot how to make yarn wefts so long. It's actually really dependent on the kind of yarn that you buy. Tighter bound yarns will have shorter fibres, but will also be a lot more prone to snapping when being brushed out. Getting your hands on looser bound yarns like this will cause less damage to the yarn and will allow you to make those fantastically long strands of hair. Of course though, if you have bought the tightly bound yarn, there's no need to fret, as these kind of yarns are fantastic when making tiny doll-sized protective braids, just like with my little fawn last year. For Abby's hair, she has a base colour of white, but underneath she has the most beautiful pop of colour, a blue that transforms into a purple and then into pink. I'll first be mapping out sections for their application. I also make sure to label which side is pink, which side is blue. For the application of the wefts, I'm going to be using some quick dry craft glue. Let's move on to the base colour. Grabbing some white wefts that I also made, I'm going to start applying them to the rest of the hair. For the hair, I really wanted to lean into a 60s hairstyle. I gave the fringe a cut to be a short curtain design with short side pieces, having the rest of the hair slicked back and wispy. While I did decide to do short side pieces, I thought it would look really nice with very long earrings, but soon I realised that the earrings were actually really short. Accompanied by the large fluffy headpiece in the area, it just looked way too overcrowded, very bulky. To rectify this, I added some longer pieces later on to the sides of the fringe to balance it out just that little bit more. Something that I really wanted to do for this doll was to give off that shimmer effect of snowflakes on the face. For this, I wanted to attach some colour changing sparkles. These sparkles I bought at Daiso. So normally, sections like this I would have cut as bad footage, but I wanted to share it. I've been seeing a lot of people commenting saying that they wish they could do art, but have unsteady hands. But mine aren't always so steady, as you can see here. Unfortunately, I've come to notice that I can get carpal tunnel issues, which just causes pain in the hands and the wrists, if not supported properly. Sometimes I can have really steady hands, but of course there'll also be days where I'll have quite shaky hands. Something that I found that helps is just to make sure that you look after yourself and look after your hands. You know, she says as she constantly has little cuts on her fingers. Ugh, I'm a hypocrite. But anyways, no matter what you're doing, working on a doll, a painting, writing, or on the computer, you have to make sure that you have really good arm support. But just as well, making sure you do regular hand exercises throughout the day. Over time, you'll notice that you'll be able to draw that line just a little bit straighter and hold that brush just a little bit longer. For me personally, I get shaking from either carpal tunnel or anxiety. While looking after my hands and my posture can help the carpal tunnel, anxiety just comes out of nowhere. Something that helps in that kind of situation is to acknowledge it. To step away and take some time to yourself. In this shaky situation, for instance, I realised that this is just, I'm gonna stab the face or something. So I decided that I need to step away. I left, played with my birds, had a cup of tea, and just relaxed until I felt a bit calmer. Sometimes the best thing you can do to improve things is just to be kinder to yourself. So to those who want to get into art or anything like that but have shaky hands, I hope that helps. At this point in the creation, it's just the tiny details, like giving this doll some blushing and adding iridescent glitter to the skin. As well, I wanted to add some nail polish to the hands of the doll too. Nothing too striking or eye-catching though, but enough to give the hands just that additional detail. It's been raining on and off this doll's entire creation. Finding gaps in the rain to do my spraying of varnish was very hard. It definitely felt as if the weather was so in theme with the Revamp series. Rainy, gloomy weather while I bring little monsters to life. Just call me Etellan Frankenstein. Back indoors, Abby's clothes are finally dry after washing. All that's needed is to give them a very good brush. For this, I'm going to be using a pet brush, just in the same as the one that I used to make the yarn wefts. Once they were all brushed, I can add the clothes back to the doll. I will forever be impressed with how amazing Abby's clothes are. The design is just so impressive, encapsulating both the hairy, wild aspects of a Yeti, while also being an outfit that someone would actually wear. It's honestly such a brilliant design. Lastly, I wanted to add just a little bit more sparkle, so decided to add some little pearl-like gems to the fringe and headband. When looking at references of Abby, she always has a microclimate around her, causing small particles of ice to fall aimlessly around her. I really wanted to add this aspect into my design, but didn't want it to take away from the tiny gems around her eyes. So, pearls it is. With the last pearls added, I can finally assemble the doll together and present my latest little revamp monster, Abby.
They say love is free, but it's more than you can see. It's a song, it's a melody, it's the beat of you and me. It takes more than words to know. It takes more than bills to show. Try to wear a smile, take care through all the trials, just stay with me a while. It takes more than words.
Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of Abby in the comments below, and which doll you would like to see revamped next. Of course, if you haven't already, make sure to check out the previous revamps of the series, So far, we have Draculaura, Frankie, Claudine, and Cleo. As always, make sure to like the video if you like it, and hit that subscribe button down below. I would appreciate it so much. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. It's through your support that I'm able to bring you these mini creations, so thank you. With that all being said, I'll see you in the next video.